Hey, how's it going, man?
Good, good. How about you?
Good, good.
Victory Monday again.
Yep, yep,
I can used to saying that. Um,
yeah,
Before we jump in, just to remind our viewers on Underdog Fantasy, there's a lot of promos going on right now. They have a free pick plus up to $1,000 match on your first deposit by using the code BOLT. So if you guys are interested in fantasy sports, pick 'em, drafts, make sure you sign up.
yeah. Definitely take advantage of that. All right, so a big victory over the Panthers, man. The defense. What did you think about that defense?
Just like the headline says right now, defense wins championships.
Yeah,
You know, we've seen it with the Ravens when Joe Flacco was quarterback, and Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, Terrell Suggs, those guys, they carried the Ravens to a Super Bowl. You've seen it with the Niners in the past. You've seen it with the Broncos. Peyton Manning's final year. Um, Defense wins championships, and that's what I think we have right now. I think someone brought up a good point. Jesse Minter, you know, other teams are going to look at him and go, "Whoa, this guy is really good. Let's hire him as a head coach." So he's going to have a lot of interest next year. And although I hope he stays with us, I understand him going and wanting to be promoted to a head coach. But as long as we have him here, we have to take full advantage of it. Um, and last yesterday we saw Bryce Young being pressured a lot. There were a lot of dump offs to Chuba Hubbard, miscommunications with the receivers. Adam Thielen, I don't think, was targeted until the fourth quarter, which was surprising to see. And now we see that they've benched Bryce Young for Andy Dalton, which is, I don't even know what to say about that. That's ridiculous, in my opinion.
yeah,
But I think just, as a whole, the Panthers offense isn't that great. So for us to go out there and show out was big. Um, Under Staley, under last year's defensive players that aren't here this season, I don't know if this was a guaranteed win. We've seen it last year. We have spoken about, wins that should be easy, and we go out and we lose, or we win by a point. So that is a big difference, in my opinion. But yeah, I mean, it's just unfortunate for the Panthers, or for Bryce Young, I would say, because I mean, you look at the other quarterbacks that they've had, Baker and Darnold, they're balling out right now. So is it a Panthers thing or is it a Bryce Young thing? I don't know, but it just
yeah,
sucks to be in his shoes right now.
yeah. Like Chick Hearn used to say, I don't care if you're playing the Sisters of Mercy, man. You give up only 3 points. Like I don't remember the last time a Chargers team has only given them
Yeah,
3 points. And speaking of last year, you know, a quarterback who was really struggling before they played us was Jordan Love. People were questioning his ability, and then he goes off against that Staley defense, and
and
you
starts
know
his own run.
he starts his own run, and look what Staley's doing with the 49ers now. They get beat by the Vikings, you know.
Man,
Hey, I love to see it. Joe Ortiz's new acquisition already gets an interception. Elijah Molden
yeah.
he's been here like a couple weeks. Bosa questionable coming in. He gets a sack. Just great defense. I mean, uh, Hubbard did get going a little bit at the end, but the game was already out of hand.
Yeah, it didn't even matter at that point. It was just
Yeah,
garbage time.
yeah, yeah,
But yeah, I mean, Elijah Molden, I was really happy to see him out there.
yeah.
He's him and uh, what's his name? Troy Dye. I saw often in the game, and it was just good to see these young guys out there, given the opportunity. And I mean, look, this defense is only going to improve, in my opinion. Like we've allowed 6.5 points the first two games on average.
Yeah,
Okay, people are saying it was a Raiders, it was a Panthers. They're not good. Okay, the Raiders just went into Baltimore and won.
yeah,
Gardner Minshew, I think, is leading the league in completion percentage, A couple of other stats he's leading the league in. This is not a scrub team. We beat them, and pretty handedly, right? 22-10.
Yeah.
Brock Bowers went off yesterday. We didn't allow that to happen. Devontae Adams went off yesterday. Again, we didn't allow that to happen. So you got to really take a step back and go, okay, now that there are going to be more games coming, obviously, and we can see how other teams fare against the Raiders and the Panthers and Steelers and whoever else we play, how we can kind of compare and contrast. But the Ravens are favorites to win the division. They're favorites to go far in the playoffs. That was a home game for them, home opener, and they got beat. We didn't let that happen at SoFi last Sunday. So, it just goes to show how good this defense actually is. And it's not to say that the Ravens defense isn't good. It just goes to show that we're that much better in terms of being able to limit these star players like Bowers and Adams.
Yeah. Actually, in one fantasy league, before this last game, I dropped the Ravens defense and picked up the Chargers. And like the only league I didn't have the Chargers defense pretty much. This defense is so good. And then speaking of fantasy, JK was rolling again, man. Man, that long run again and the flip into the end zone
with Gus Edwards as fullback.
Yeah.
That was something to watch.
Yeah, and hey, Gus did a better job of running the ball this time. 59 yards. He was. That was more what we expected from Gus, but JK getting more carries this time, and he deserved it, and he's running with it.
Yep.
And it's great to see for a guy like that. Yeah.
And credit to the offensive line this game.
Yeah.
I don't care about the injuries. We've had injuries over the years. No one gave a damn, so I don't really care. We've had star players miss games and we get belittled for losing with like basically our backup entire team playing. But anyway, the offensive line did very good. But Dobbins, he's incredible. I had predicted that he'd lead the team in rushing and he'd be top 5 in yards overall league-wise. That's coming to fruition now. Edwards, I expected to see him get goal line carries. I don't know if we're going to see that as long as Dobbins stays hot like this. A fun note, he was the first player since Melvin Gordon to have back-to-back 100-plus yards rushing. And the first player since LaDainian Tomlinson to have 130-plus rushing yards back-to-back as a Charger. That is elite company. Anytime you're in the conversation with LaDainian Tomlinson, that's elite company. So he's special. Are there worries that he's being overworked? Possibly. But then again, I trust this coaching staff. They know what they're doing. And unfortunately, injuries have been happening to key guys like, we saw with Christian McCaffrey, we saw Cooper Kupp yesterday, Puka Nacua. It's happening around the league. But as long as, they have faith in Dobbins, as long as they think that he can handle that type of workload, hey, I'm good with it. I trust this coaching staff.
Yeah. And I don't think we've ever really seen a guy come back from an Achilles. Also he had ACL tears before that. Like this strong, this fast. We saw little flashes of Cam Akers in the preseason, looking good. But man, the way Dobbins is doing this, it's just it's unheard of, and he looks great. He doesn't look like he has any sign of slowing down. Really, like he looks healthy right now.
I don't see it. I don't see it happening.
Yeah.
I mean, next game is the ultimate test in terms of being able to break through that Steelers defense. And if he does that again next game, I mean, I don't know what the doubters and haters are going to say at that point.
Yeah. That's going to be a great test because that Steelers defense is strong. Yeah. Hey, the Raiders defense was really good. I mean, like you just said, they just beat the Ravens,
Yeah.
with that strong defense,
Let me just point out too. Speaking of the Raiders defense, Derrick Henry was held to 4 rush attempts for -5 yards in the first half.
Wow.
I mean, that's something. And yes, Dobbins was held to 4 in the first half, but Henry had the touchdown. He had a couple, he had maybe 60, 70 yards around there to end the game. But it's still, the Raiders D line is pretty good.
Yeah.
As much as there are rivals and stuff, it's just honest. They're pretty good. So if he shows out against the Steelers, and I'm not saying he's gonna have another 100-yard performance. If he does, that's insane. Okay. But he's gonna have a decent performance, like 60, 70 yards. And yeah, it's gonna be a low scoring game. And we'll talk about this on Thursday. But Steelers have allowed 8 points on average. We've allowed 6.5. So I expect it to be a low scoring game. We're the underdogs starting off the week. I think 1.5 underdogs. It's going to be an interesting game. I think, it's going to tell a lot about this team Sunday, because Steelers are legit. Whether Justin Fields is out there or Russell Wilson, they are a legit team. And hopefully it is Justin Fields out there, because I think we'll do a better job against Fields than we would against someone who can throw the ball. I'm sorry, but it's just the honest truth.
Yeah, I think it'll be a great test. Harbaugh had some kind of comment to that effect, that this will be a good test for the team. And another part of that next game, is there any concern for Herbert? Taking, he kind of twisted, taking a hit, trying to throw the ball out, like he did against the Raiders. I know Herbert finished that game, but he's getting the MRI today. He's a tough guy. He's going to finish the game no matter what, if he has some kind of injury or not. Do we think he possibly could have got injured on that play?
I mean, I hate to say it, but seeing him walk off the field at the end, there was definitely a limp. He didn't look normal. But again, he's a warrior. He's like Phillip Rivers when it comes to injuries. He's going to want to play through it. I don't know why he was in the game that late. It was like less than 6 minutes left, and I was like, okay, I'm going to turn this because the game's done. And he comes back out. I was like, okay, I'll just keep watching. But I wasn't sure why he was in the game that late. We saw it with Stafford too yesterday. They were down 31 and he was in the game. So it might just be, them getting reps. But you run the risk of injury, of course. Hopefully it's nothing serious, but just, him leaving the stadium, it didn't look great. But again, he has 6 days to recover. Hopefully, if it's nothing serious, I'm sure he'll play Sunday. I think he's going to play regardless. But depending on what the MRI comes back with, we'll get a better understanding of the injury.
Yeah, and the other concern is currently Stick is still the number 2 quarterback right now. So
I don't know
that. I think it's a kind of respect thing for Sticks, because he's been here for so long, and Heineke just got here. Like, let Heineke learn the playbook first, kind of thing. Like, let him get comfortable first. But if Stick is thrown into action, nobody feels good about that.
I mean, if Stick is the starter against the Steelers, we're not winning that game.
No, yeah, and you think Harbaugh would start Heineke if it came to that?
I think so. I don't think Stick's starting, and he was really excited yesterday, thinking that he'd be out there, but no, Herbert was fine. But he was just ready to go out. I'm like, slow down, dude. If you had a good preseason, okay, but you didn't even have that. So
yeah. Well, it's his job. It's understandable,
Yeah.
At least
I mean,
he's the only one excited about that.
Anyone would do that, just in that position. But still, you have to prove yourself, and he just hasn't done that yet. So I think bringing Taylor Heineke was a big indicator of where this team stands on Stick. He didn't get cut, but at the same time, I don't think he'll outperform Heineke in the depth chart. If Herbert is out for any given point in the season, I think Heineke will be the backup.
Yeah, you would think. And the other concern for Herbert, he made a couple uncharacteristic mistakes. Interception. Taking the hit that he shouldn't have and turning the ball over. What is there any concern from you over that?
I think, like we said 2 weeks ago, that because he's going to throw the ball less, he's going to be more efficient,
Yeah,
right? But I think also because he's throwing the ball less, I don't know if these mistakes are going to be more common. Because before, remember, like he was throwing 30, 40 times a game. He hasn't even reached 30 yet. Like the last 2 games combined, I think he's thrown an average of 23 passes. Last year, this time, it was like 37. So not getting enough reps isn't great either, But those were just mistakes that shouldn't have happened. I don't think they're going to happen, on a weekly basis. They were just mistakes. I don't think it's going to be an ongoing occurrence.
yeah. I don't see it as a problem either. We've watched years of Herbert with, every now and then you're gonna have a bad game. He's still shaking the cobwebs off, like you said. Missed a couple of weeks of practice, so still getting that timing down with the new receivers. And we know Herbert. He's gonna beat himself up over those mistakes, and and think of all the ways not to have them happen again. And the coaches will go over it with him too. Great coaching staff. So let's talk about another player who's overcoming last season,
Yeah.
Quentin Johnston. What do we think about that?
We came into the season not having a wide receiver one, right?
Yeah.
I had predicted Ladd as the wide receiver one. I think he still finishes as the wide receiver one. But you know what? Quentin Johnston, he is taking advantage of this opportunity. Even when DJ Chark comes back, and we're going to need Chark, Johnston is going to be in the rotation. 100% he's going to be in the rotation. He had, 51 yards yesterday? I think people forget that he had good games back-to-back last year against the Bears, I believe, and the Broncos. Those were good games for him in terms of yardage. So this was another good game, but back-to-back like this to start the season. Last year to start the season, it was a disaster for him. This year, it's completely different. Not one, but 2 touchdowns. I mean, you would never expect that. No one would have predicted that for Johnston. So I'm very happy to see him succeeding. And, he kind of showed that he can hold on to the ball, right? That deep throw by Herbert, that was not an easy catch. He made it. The red zone pass to Johnston, he caught it. Palmer last time didn't, last against the Raiders didn't. Johnston did. So now there's more confidence being built for Johnston, I think. And Palmer, I don't know. It seems like he's kind of slipping away. He had 2 targets yesterday, 3 targets week 1. It seems like right now it's Ladd and Johnston as a wide receiver 1 and wide receiver 2.
Yeah. I expected more from Palmer. I thought he had the potential to be the wide receiver 1. And who knows, with this offense, it could be a different receiver every week. We could see Palmer step up next week, but so far it hasn't. Q also had another nice running play that was called back due to a penalty. He got another 10 yards. He saw some of that burst that we saw in in training camp last year. Q's got the tools, and this coaching staff knows how to use him. They know how to use him. He's going to be a weapon in every game. You can just see it. Just get him the ball and let him go. And if he's catching touchdown passes too, man, yeah, he has the potential to be the wide receiver 1.
Yeah, I could see it. See it, especially if you're going to try to kind of ease Ladd into this game plan.
Mhm.
Johnson's been there already. He has a chemistry with Herbert, so I could definitely see it. But either way, I think the important thing here is that they are developing. All of these wide receivers are developing right before our eyes. And, I've seen kind of fans want Jamar Chase to sign with us next year. The problem is, and look, I don't mind signing Jamar Chase. I think he's a great talent. The problem is, this is not a pass first team anymore. I don't think Harbaugh is going to go out and get a wide receiver one like that. He's never had one. And we keep going back to this. He's never had a wide receiver one like that. Like the best talent he's had at wide receiver one is Crabtree or Doug Baldwin, whoever you want to place higher in the ranks. So I don't see that happening. I think the money will be spent on either, defense or offensive line, tight end, one of those positions, not tight end for blocking, by the way, not for catching, because that's just the team that we are now. It's a run team, and we just have to adjust to it.
Yes. Speaking of that, you see some fans online on social media upset. We're 2-0 for the first time since 2012, and you got some fans upset. Well, we're not throwing the ball like we used to. We're you know.
I don't get it. I truly don't get it. I mean, look, under Tom Telesco for a decade, we did not start off 2-0. For a decade.
That tells you all you need to know. Yeah. Hey, I get it. Sometimes it's not pretty. Watching you know watching a bunch of run plays, watching. Uh, hey, I actually love watching the defense and the running because we haven't had it for so long.
That's right.
You know, uh, and I like to win. I don't know about some of these other fans.
Yeah.
Maybe they got too used to Staley. Like, hey, it's pretty. Yeah, like for fantasy, it's great. But if you like to actually win games, not feel bad after after the
Yeah.
game, like.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right.
Yeah.
It's not boring to me watching J.K. Dobbins,
No.
and that speed of his and running over 130 yards. It's not boring to me. It's not boring to see this team win and to see this team succeed. Fantasy-wise, I get it. Okay, but we knew this coming into the season. Like we kept saying, this is a run-first team. And I made sure, to draft Herbert, yes, but also have another quarterback like a C.J. Stroud, Jalen Hurts type of quarterback, especially in superflex leagues. Because even if Herbert's your QB2, you have QB1 production, though. I get it. But I think winning in real life is a little more important than fantasy football.
Yes.
And that's what matters here, that we're winning. Sure, it's boring. But we didn't expect Herbert to come in and throw 30 times, 40 times, throw for over 300 yards. It's just not going to happen unless it's a shootout against the Chiefs, which even then I don't think it's going to happen because then you think about you want to run the ball, keep Mahomes on the sideline. So this is just a new team that you have to get used to. But if I'm trading in Herbert's stats for wins, that's a fair trade. Okay, like Herbert's gotten all the stats. He's broken rookie records. He's thrown over 5,000 yards in his career in the season. He needs that Super Bowl championship. And I think that's what matters above all else. Will he win MVP? Probably not. Not with these stats. But will he win a Super Bowl? Probably, yeah. Because of this defense. Because of the O-line. Because of the run game. Because of these coaches. And really, that's what matters, is championships. I miss the days when Chargers fans wanted to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Like we kept saying, Phillip Rivers, we need a Super Bowl for him. Keenan Allen, we need a Super Bowl for him. And now it's like, why isn't Herbert throwing 300 yards? Who cares? We're winning.
Yeah, I'll take the wins all day long. All day long. Yeah, maybe those fans, and it's a minority. It's a minority of fans, but maybe fans like that need to follow Staley to San Francisco,
Man, I don't know if you guys saw the 97-yard touchdown by Justin Jefferson.
I did, yeah.
I was like, wow, this is just deja vu again. Just
yeah,
not being able to tackle
Yeah. Giving up the big explosive play. Yeah.
I don't know what the Niners were thinking hiring him, but man, it's
Yeah, it
so bad.
seemed like they were doing pretty good without him.
They were like the best defense in the
Yeah,
league.
yeah,
I don't know what you're hiring him for, but good luck now.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
No,
but
no.
no, I mean, I am all about winning. If we're not winning, that's all that matters is winning. And it's pretty to watch Herbert try and play hero ball, right? Like we've seen in the past against the Raiders, against the Chiefs, trying to come back and get the win. And it's freaking fun to watch.
Yeah,
But at the end of the day, when we're winning by double digits, not even allowing more than 10 points to opposition, the run game is going. And Herbert's just, he's chilling right now. He's making plays. He made that play to Quentin Johnston yesterday, the play to Lad McConkey in week 1. He's making the plays. He could have had more touchdowns in week 1 had Palmer caught that pass, So it's not like he's being limited in terms of production. Like if the receivers hold on to the ball, he'll get a lot more yards. Okay. Yes, he's going to have less pass attempts, but completion wise, it's going to still be around 15 to 20 completions. And he's efficient enough to throw 25 times and have 20 completions. We know that. He's efficient enough to do that. So if you have 20 completions, yeah, you're going to see about north of 200 yards. He hasn't even cracked that yet, by the way. So, I mean, I get it. I get the frustration fantasy-wise. But as a team, as a fan of this team, to be frustrated about the way they're playing, we're winning. We've been wanting to win all these years, and it's finally happening. So, no, I don't find it boring. I'm not frustrated. I'm extremely pumped about this team and week 3. It's great.
yeah. Same. And like you said, that there's going to be those moments for Herbert where the team's going to need him, and he's going to come through. He's going to come through with great passes, with touchdowns. Like you said, we saw it with Q the other day, and we'll see more of those moments. It just won't be the whole game, but then on the other side, we're not going to see Herbert getting sacked at the end of the game because the O-line can't protect him. We're not going to see the defense giving up the leads that Herbert gets. So yeah,
I mean, I think people just forget how frustrating it was to watch that defense, just missing tackles, letting go of big plays, and then the offense not being able to hold their ground and protect Herbert. I think people just forget how bad it was. And now they just have it too good.
yeah. Jump off if you don't like it. We'll get more
And
we'll get more fans.
and
As we go.
I think these original fans, that have been with us for years and years and years since 2000, they're not complaining. They love this. It's the newer fans that have come the last 2 years, especially this last year since we got Harbaugh, that are not complaining. I'm like, this is we've been wanting to win. Now you're talking about stats. No, let's win. Like Herbert has his stats. He's gotten all those stats. It's not easy to throw over 5,000 yards. He's done it. He's thrown over 4,300 yards in his rookie season. So now it's just time to add championships. And that's what it's all about. You're going to be remembered for your championships. Sorry, Philip Rivers, but that's just the truth, unfortunately.
Yeah, and do you think Chiefs fans are upset about the last championship where Mahomes was terrible, where the offense struggled to score anything, but they won the championship because of that defense,
Yeah.
and then a few key moments Mahomes comes through, and that's what we have here right now. And hey, Pacheco just got injured, so he's not going to be there for the Chargers game. That's a huge loss. He's a big part of that attack for the Chiefs. So it'll make our defense a little bit easier.
Pacheco's a monster. I have him in fantasy in 2 leagues, 2 out of the 4. It sucks to see him injured, but in terms of that week 4 matchup, that is huge for the Chargers.
Yeah.
The backup Steele, he's like a mini Pacheco, but he fumbled last game. He has a lot of developing to do. And I think we can exploit that in week 4. It's not going to be like a quick turnaround that, oh, he's going to be developed by week 4. No, it's going to take time. So we can exploit that for sure. I expect Mahomes to throw a lot that game, but I also expect, if people are expecting, because we're playing the Chiefs, for us to be throwing the ball a lot, no, it's going to be the opposite. We're going to be running the ball like crazy to keep Mahomes on the sideline. If, and I don't think this is going to happen, if we're down 2 possessions, I think they throw. But I don't think we're going to see that a lot this year. I think it's going to be just pounding the run game and just grit and grind defense from the other side of the ball. Like we play the Cardinals later in the season on Monday night. That could be, a bit of a higher scoring game. But it'll be interesting. Like those types of games will be very interesting. The Chiefs, Cardinals, I believe we play the Saints,
Yeah.
Ravens. Those are going to be interesting games to see how this defense does. Because this defense can stop Kyler Murray, if they can stop Alvin Kamara and Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry and Patrick Mahomes, there are no excuses anymore. This is the real deal.
Yeah. Yeah. And we've seen a glimpse of that, holding that Raiders team down that, that went for 26 points against the Ravens and wins the game. So yeah, I mean, all indications look like this defense is for real, and like it will step up against those players because Jesse Minter and these guys have it locked in, and hey, it's nice. It's nice to feel confident about this Chargers team for once in
I
so
mean,
long.
it's just the truth. I mean, they're just going to get better. Like these young guys, they're going to get better. Henley was phenomenal yesterday. Molden was great. I mean, these guys are going to get better. And, the veterans, Bosa, Mack, Derwin, they're just going to be there and just continue to improve these younger guys while also producing themselves. And so, the defensive tackles yesterday did good. The run game wasn't really anything. But let's see this team against a better offense, right? That's what the argument constantly is. Panthers weren't that great. Okay. Next week, it's the Steelers. They're a better team. Whether it's Fields or Wilson, they have good running backs. Let's see how they do. And if they produce again, then, there won't be many more doubters, I don't think.
Yeah, I hope to see Fields, not because I think it's going to be easier, but because I want to see them against a running quarterback. Because that was always the weakness. Staley's defense always had so many weaknesses, but rushing quarterbacks would eat us alive because the linebackers were too slow getting to them. But now we have fast linebackers, so I want to see that.
Yeah, I think it's going to be beneficial to us either way, because even if Russell Wilson starts, he's going to be pretty rough. He hasn't played this year yet. So either way, I think it's beneficial to us. But no, Fields, he's been bad throwing the ball, better rushing the ball, obviously. But they're going to run. That's one thing I know. They're going to run the ball, and it's going to be just back and forth, just run game back and forth between us and them. And those defenses have been outstanding. They've been, in my opinion, 2 of the best this season so far. And we'll talk more about this on Thursday. But, TJ Watt, let's see how Joe Alt does against TJ Watt. Slater did a really good job yesterday, creating room for Dobbins to run. So let's see that continue going into week 3.
Yeah. It'll be fun to watch. Next 2 games are heavyweight matchups. So hey, let's go get it. And don't forget to subscribe and smash that like button. Yeah. All right. Till Thursday.
Yep. Let's celebrate Victory Monday.
Yeah.